Hi Rushi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, the basic purpose behind conducting this mock interview is to help you gain confidence and to help you in clearing the interview levels as well, and to get the clarity of the software testing concepts. So, let us start then. Are you comfortable?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you getting nervous?
Yeah, a little bit.
No, no. See, don't get nervous. This is just a mock interview. Even if you don't know the answer of the question, so we will help you with the answer. Okay.
Okay.
So we want that after this interview, you should be confident about some of the concepts, and we want that you should get some good job opportunities in your career, and you should start your career as soon as possible. Okay, you should be able to
Yeah.
start. Okay,
Okay.
okay. Then let's start. What do you mean by quality?
Quality means the how the software is reacts and how the software will perform in its environment and how it is usable to the user.
Mhm. Okay, okay. So whenever someone asks you what is quality, you have to tell that quality of a product. It can be a product or it can be a service. It is defined as a level of reliability. Okay, and also reliability to that level that it meets or exceeds the customer expectations. Okay, if it does not meet the expectations of the customer, then there is no point of creating that product. So quality should be such that the customer should be able to use that product. And let's take a very basic example of Amul ice cream. Okay, so you won't get any other ice cream apart from that brand, with the same quality. So this was just an
Mm.
example. So Amul brand is reliable for the quality, whatever the new products they are introducing in the market as well. So those are going beyond the expectations, meeting the expectations. So that is how you have to define quality. Okay, it should exceed or it should meet the expectations of end user. Okay. Now,
Okay.
can you give us few of the high level test scenarios for pencil?
Uh, For pencil, I will check whether the tip of the pencil is broken or
Mhm.
is it good to write. And when we draw the line from pencil or when we write anything from using a pencil, i- is it as per the expectations or not? Then the brand name should be correct or not. And
Any other test scenarios that come to your mind? These are three test scenarios. Any other thing, positive, negative is fine. You have to just think on those lines. For pencil, what all things you can do? What all things you can test?
uh, test when the pencil is dropped from certain heights, is
Hmm.
it broken or not?
Hmm.
And the uh, after the pencil is dropped from certain height,
Hmm.
is it be used to write anything or
Hmm.
and
Shall I help you?
when we sh-
Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
yeah
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please go
when
ahead.
we
Go.
sharp
Yeah.
when we sharp the pencil with the sharpener, it is um, it should be sharpened and rewritable.
Okay, these were good test scenarios. So apart from that, you can also check the thickness and the resilience of the graphite material. You know, that is the carbon black color material that is available in the pencil, how it is. You can also check the length of a pencil, the strength of the outer wooden body it is there. whether then the brand name is properly written on that pencil or not. Let's say if it is of Apsara brand or if it is of any other company, Natraj or something, then you can check whether whether the text written on paper using that pencil is readable or not. Okay, then whatever the sharpener and the eraser test cases you gave, that were fine. Then then you can check whether the graphite is not broken, or it should not be brittle. Okay, so you can cover these test scenarios. Now, what are the principles of software testing? There are basically 7 principles of software testing. Can you tell us which are all the different principles?
Uh, Exhaustive testing is not possible.
Hmm.
Then,
Then,
so,
then let me help you with one principle, that is pesticide paradox, right?
yeah, defect clustering.
Defect clustering is there. Perfect. Then testing
Error
shows presence
guessing.
of defects, right? Yeah, you were telling something.
Error guessing.
Error guessing is not there. No, error guessing is not there. Mhm.
Actually, I have read, but
Hmm.
I forgot it.
Okay, no problem. You don't remember it. Let me help you
Yeah,
with it. Testing shows presence of defects. That was one. Early testing
yeah.
is there. Defect clustering is there. Then then we mentioned about pesticide paradox. Then testing is context dependent. Okay, it varies from
Mm.
software to software. Which software you are testing it. The testing is context dependent. Then you have got early testing. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then absence of errors, right? Absence of errors
Mm.
fallacy. So you cannot tell. So you cannot. These are the 7 basic principles of software testing. So you have to go through them, get it clear. If any doubt is there, you can ask, and you have to memorize them, because this will ultimately help you in making your career in the software testing field. Okay, and this is not for this interview, but even when you get something to test, so these principles hold true. So you should not neglect them. You should definitely concentrate, and you should memorize, and you should learn these concepts, what I would say. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So what is performance testing?
In performance testing, we will test the performance of the software, all the critical functionalities are working proper, and
Mhm.
in such conditions like uh, when when multiple users are using the application at the same time, or one user is performing multitasking on its device at that time, the performance of the application should not be compromised, and it is accessible ac- it is accessible to the user easily.
This point, accessible to user easily, I think this would come more of a usability testing, right? For performance testing, we are basically checking we have two types of testing in that. One is load testing, another is stress testing.
Stress testing.
So, do you know what is load testing and what is stress testing?
Yes, in load testing, we test
Mhm.
suppose we have limitation of users, like 100 users can
Mhm.
access the application. So in
Mhm.
load testing, we will check whether the 100 users or less than 100 users can access the application, and in stress testing we will check the beyond the limitations, like if we have 100 users limitation, then we will check for 200 users or 110 users, and check whether the performance is how the system will perform in that condition.
Mhm. Right, right, perfect. Okay, then what is smoke testing?
In smoke testing, we will check that the all the critical functionalities are working proper, and smoke testing is performed before the release of the application in the testing environment.
Right. So, smoke testing is more of a preliminary kind of a testing, right? It is a
Yes.
primary test to be done, and using smoke testing, the tester actually confirms whether the build is good to go for further testing or not. Okay.
Mm, okay.
Then what is exploratory testing?
In exploratory testing, the tester will explore all the features and functionality in the software or system, uh, and it will be checked that
Do you want me to help you?
yes.
Yeah, okay, no problem. So in exploratory testing, actually, tester uses the testing experience. While testing an application, he will explore the features by himself and he will learn how the application is working. Let's say if some input is given, then how the output is getting generated. So he will learn the flow of the application by himself or by herself, and then he will make a note of it. Okay, so and so XYZ application is working in this manner, then this actually becomes a document for them, that okay, this functionality has to be worked in this manner. So this is how the exploratory testing is being taken care, and generally this testing is done by the testing team when the requirement documents or some help documents are not available from the customer end. So the testers are exposed to the application for the first time and they don't have any test cases created. So this is how they will start the exploratory testing. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So I hope this was clear, exploratory testing. Now let's go to integration testing. What do you mean by integration testing? Okay,
In
so I
entry,
would like to request you one thing, Rushi, that whenever you are answering, you have to face the camera, your eye contact should be there, and this would be helpful to you because these days in the pandemic, we don't have face to face interviews, so people will take virtual interviews from you, and to test you from the communication skills, from the soft skills point of view, how much confident you are. So they will like to have a eye contact with you. So if you are looking at the if you are giving a virtual interview, then look at the camera of whether it is mobile or it is computer, and you try to make an eye contact with the interviewer. So interviewer will come to know, okay, this guy is confident, so they will, this would be a go green signal for you to clear the interview. Okay,
okay.
yeah, try to make an eye contact in future also, because see, in 2021 also you'll face virtual interviews, and there are
Yes.
very less chances that you will get face to face interviews these days, and many people are joining, the joining is also happening virtually. They are joining from home, they are working from home from the first day when they are joining the organization. And so in any meetings also, any schedules are there in your organization, so it is very important to make an eye contact. So try to make an eye contact with me at least. You can consider me as your elder brother, so don't get
Yeah.
nervous. Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So coming back to the question, what is integration testing?
So in integration testing, we
Mhm.
will test whether the all the modules are integrated, integrated
mm,
as per the requirement, and it has two approaches, bottom up and top down. In
mm,
bottom up approach, the developer will first develop
mm,
the uh, child module, and
mm,
then the parent modules are integrated to the child modules. And
mm,
in top down approach, we have different like first the parent modules are created, and
mm.
then it will be integrated to the child modules.
Right, right. So integration testing is basically, second level of testing after unit testing. So first we will do
Yeah.
unit testing, then we will do
Yeah.
integration testing, then we will do
Yes.
system testing, and at the last we are
System
doing
test.
acceptance testing. So integration testing, in that various modules are combined together and then tested. You mentioned it very right. And we are verifying the data flow, whether it is in sync and it is meeting the expectations of the, it is as working as per the requirement that is given by the customer, and there is no break in the functionality when the two modules are integrated. Can you give us some example of integration testing?
Mm, Suppose some login functionality in application.
Hmm.
So uh, in bottom up approach,
Hmm.
the forgot password functionality have developed first, and then it will be connected to the login functionality. And in top down approach, first the login functionality have created, and then forgot password is created and integrated with the login functionality.
Hmm. True, right. So we can also take an example of pen. The body of the pen is there and the cap of the pen, when they are integrated, then pen should not get broken. Similarly, you can also take an example of IRCTC website, in which the ticket booking is one of the module, and paying for the tickets is another module, payment gateway. So
Yes.
that modules are integrated and together it is becoming an IRCTC website. Okay, so you will perform the integration testing by combining both the modules. Okay, then what is system testing?
In system testing, system is compiled as a whole, and then the tester will test the system as a whole, and all the functionalities and features will be tested in system testing.
So we are testing the software, the end-to-end functionality, end-to-end testing is being carried out. Okay,
Yeah.
then what is interface testing? Hmm.
No idea.
Okay, so let me help you. So interface testing is a verification done. We are verifying the communication and data transfer between two different systems, where the interface can be an API or it can be web services. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So if you want, I can give you one example as well. Let's take an example of booking air tickets. Okay. So in that, what we are using various websites again in that, like goibibo.com is there, or flightraja.com is there. Now ticket is being booked using the web service of the airlines, and you'll come to know about various flight time, the destination, and all those things, whether the seats are available or not. Okay, so these are all the examples of interface testing. Similarly, you can take an example of bookmyshow.com as well, where you are actually able to see, whether the seat availability is there for that particular time show when you want to see the movie. Okay,
Mm,
so it is
okay.
actually, kind of, we are verifying the data transfer between two different systems, and interface is more of API kind of, or web services. Okay,
Okay.
what is regression testing?
In regression testing, we will check that the recent development or program change has any effect on other modules or not. So, for example, suppose Recently, any functionality in application like payment interface have any bugs or defect, and developer uh, has fixed that particular defect. So we will check that the other other part of the application like cart value has been updated or not, and other functionalities are working properly or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. So, so what is the difference then between retesting and regression testing?
In retesting, we will testing the module that has been fixed, like as I said earlier,
Mm-hmm.
in payment interface we have some bugs,
Mm-hmm.
and developer has fixed it. So in retesting, we will again and again test the payment interface module, and in regression testing we will check that the payment interface is connected with other modules. We will check other modules that uh, the solved bug or defect has any effect on other modules.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So basically, regression testing is being conducted on the build after bugs are, after bugs are fixed. So we will test whether the unchanged areas are not being affected by the code changes that is done, that is checked in by the developers. Okay. While retesting, as you mentioned it right, we are testing those defects again. Okay, then
Yes.
what are the two different types of acceptance testing, user acceptance testing?
Alpha testing and beta testing.
Okay, can you
In
explain?
alpha
Yeah.
testing, yeah, in alpha testing, we will test that the application is ready to move to the environment uh, development environment. And in beta testing, the end user will check whether the application is working fine or not. Like in for example,
Hmm.
uh, uh, developer will developer has launched the build and uh, uh, give it to the end user to test whether function are working proper or not.
Hmm. Okay. So basically in beta testing, end users will perform the testing at their own organization level or at their own premises. While in
Yes.
alpha testing, it has been done by the testers of an organization are getting involved over there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let me give you some examples of the defects that are occurring, and you have to tell me by which type of testing you like, which type of defects you have found. Like, let's say if there is some functionality broken into an application, so you can tell that it is a functionality testing defect. Okay.
Okay.
Now, okay. So now let me give you one example. The festive sale is going on Amazon.com. Okay, everyone is purchasing everything from 25th December to 31st December. Now all of a sudden the site has got slow. So which testing type? I mean, you will find the defect, but what is the testing type that you will use over here? You will implement over here.
Performance testing.
Performance testing, perfect. It is a, so this would be kind of a real time scenarios that we are covering now in an interview. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Then let's say you are trying to log in into the application, and at times you see that the password that you have given to the application for login is been not encrypted, it has been revealed into the plain text. So what is this kind of testing called?
Security testing.
Security testing, perfect. Then I have one of the application in which some calculations are to be performed. 24/7 in a day, 24, 24 hours, 7 days in a week, and I need to check whether it is running fine till 365 days of the year. Let's say today is 14 January 2021, and it should run continuously till 14 January 2022. So what is this kind of testing called? Do you want me to help you?
Yes.
Okay. See, you are testing, actually the application should run fine till more amount of time. Let's say for one particular year, for you can take an example of 3 months, 6 months. So we are actually doing reliability testing. Okay. We are testing
Okay.
whether that software is reliable. Let's say if you give some accounting application to a DMart, it is working fine for the first month, but it stops working from the second month. So you need to be sure that the software which you are going to deliver, which you are going to release to the client, has to be reliable. Okay, it should work properly, with the same behavior, with the same expectations that are there in the requirement of the customer, and it should work like that for more amount of time, for continuous period of time. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's say if I want to test an application with 1,000 users. So I am first testing with 50 users, then I'm going to 500 users, then I'm testing with 1,000 users. So what is this kind of testing called?
Load testing.
Load testing. Perfect. Now if I would have said more than 1,000, like 1,500 or 2,000 users, and the limit is 1,000, then it is stress testing. Okay.
Stress testing.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Then let me give you one example. The application is there that is being used in Citibank. So you would have heard the
Hmm.
name Citibank, right? Now in that, many people are
Yes.
accessing the software together. Now, when one single person is using that software, then the problem is not coming. Then the software is working as per the expected results. But when 10 users, when 15 users, when 20 users together are trying to test that application, then for one or two particular users, it is not working fine. So what is this kind of testing called? Do you want to help? Do you want me to help you?
Yes.
Okay, this is called concurrent testing. In concurrent testing, what we are doing, we are working in a group. Let's say one HR team is there, one finance department is there, then one engineering department is there. Now the bot or the software is not working for one of the department person. Okay, so
Hmm.
what the testing team would do, they will test the the from an end user point of view with one single user, so they won't find the defect. But when together as a whole HR team is working on the software, so they are getting the defects, they are able to see some of the bad gateway or some internal server error coming into the application. So what testing team would do, testing team would ask them how many number of users are there. Okay, together they are trying to access the same functionality at the same time. So then it is concurrent testing. Okay.
Okay.
Now I want to verify the behavior of Netflix portal during movie streaming by viewers between evening 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. in any time zone. So what is this called?
Hmm. Localization testing.
No, no. This is again load testing, because you are testing the behavior of Netflix portal, that is one of the application, during movie streaming by viewers between one particular time limit, that is 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Then what is okay, now we are done with the real time scenarios. Now what is security testing?
In security testing, we tester will check for the any loopholes in the system,
Hmm.
like the data that are entered by the user is in the encrypted form, and hackers cannot access it easily.
Hmm. So we will basically test how protective the software is, like how effective protective software like firewall or antivirus installed, and there should
Yes.
not be data leakages, should not be there, vulnerabilities should not be there. Again, the credentials or the password should not be in plain text. Okay, and the
Yes.
hacker point you had mentioned it right. So security testing is testing of an application against the malpractice from hacker. Okay.
Okay.
Then what is static testing and what is dynamic testing? Do you
You
want me to
might.
help you?
Yes.
Okay, no issues. So, static testing is a kind of testing in which we are uh, testing without executing code. Like code review is there. Okay, then we are verifying whether the business logic is being properly taken care or not, whether variables are properly initialized, properly declared in the coding or not, best practices are being implemented. So this is called static testing, means kind of you are not running the code, you are not executing it, you are just having a look at the coding lines, whether the coding guidelines are met or not, standards are being followed or not. Okay, but in case
Okay.
of dynamic testing, you will actually test the software. You will compile your code, you will execute it, and you will run on your machine. You will run the server, and the code is being executed. Okay, so
Okay.
that is called dynamic testing. And then you will also test the various parameters like CPU usage, memory consumption, time taken for output. All these things are being analyzed. Okay, then we are also testing whether memory leakage is happening or not. Okay, so these are all
Okay.
this is all being done in dynamic testing. And again, in dynamic testing you have two types: functional testing and non-functional testing. Okay,
Okay.
then what is compatibility testing?
In compatibility testing, we will test whether the application is accessible in different uh, machines or in different software. Like we have developed an Android application,
Hmm.
and uh, so we will in compatibility testing we will check that the application is working in different Android versions,
Hmm.
like we will check it in the lollipop, then
Hmm.
the marshmallow, and then the latest version like Android 11 or 10,
Yeah, wonderful.
same as in iOS.
Hmm.
And in web applications we will check that it is working in different browsers like in Mozilla Firefox and
Hmm.
Google Chrome.
Hmm. Right. So you mentioned it very right, but you were telling that we are trying to access the application. Application is already always accessible, but you want to test whether the software runs on all these variety of browsers, like operating systems, let it be Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. You were mentioning about platforms on mobile like Android. Then you can take an example of iOS as well. Then if
Yes.
you are testing on browser, then browser compatibility is also there, like iBrowser, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome. Then these days even Safari is there, so Opera is there. So it should be compatible with all the operating systems, browsers, mobile platforms, web browsers, everything. Okay,
Okay.
we have to make sure that the software is running on all these environments. Okay. Okay, now
Okay.
comes your favorite question. What is localization testing?
In localization testing we will
Hmm.
check that the application is accessible in different time zones, like
Hmm.
if we have developed it for India as well as for European users, so
Hmm.
in different time zones we will check that it is working fine or not.
Right.
Suppose
Yeah, yeah,
Suppose
please go ahead. Mm-hmm.
we will we will check the, like if any mobile that has country selected as Europe and it has time zone of Europe, uh,
Mm-hmm.
then we will check uh, that the application is working fine or not.
Fine or not. Perfect. So basically, your test would include, it should verify that the application can be used in that specific region or not. Okay. So
Yes.
it also means,
And
yeah,
I want to add something
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
it has different languages also.
Yeah, yeah. So based on user interface, based on language, currency format, date time format for that specific continent or country, having that language is being taken care in this kind of localization testing.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what all columns are present in the test case template?
Mm, Test case scenario,
Hmm,
test case ID,
ID, right?
description or summary of the test case,
Hmm,
prerequisites,
hmm,
steps steps to implement that test case,
hmm,
then test data,
hmm,
then actual result,
hmm,
expected results, status of the test case,
hmm,
like it is passed, failed, or
hmm.
rejected, and then the remarks.
Remarks, right? Yeah, this was good. Now, what do you mean by positive test case and a negative test case?
Uh, in positive test case, we will check by input some valid data. Like we have to check login functionality. So in positive test case, we will check by inputting all the valid data in username and password fields. And in negative test cases,
Hmm,
we will check by first uh, we will input invalid username and valid password. Then we will input both field invalid, username is invalid and password is invalid.
hmm,
And in third condition we will check that username is valid and password is invalid.
right. So basically, in negative testing, you are trying to break the system by giving invalid inputs, and you want to make sure that the software is robust and it should work fine in all kinds of inputs that are given. Okay, in positive testing
Yes.
is more of a happy path testing. That is, अगर ऐसा है तो ऐसा ही होना चाहिए. So you will just test these things and you will give away. But in negative testing, you have to test the invalid inputs towards the software or application. Okay. Now,
Yes.
what is behavior driven testing? Hmm. You want me to help you?
Yes.
Okay. So behavior driven testing, it focuses more on user behavior in certain applications, in certain conditions. Let's say if printing a document is there, and in that case I receive a message for page area out of margin. Okay. So how will the software react normally rather than technical functionality of the software? Okay. So we are actually testing the normal normal things of the software rather than going into the technical areas of the software. What is the behavior of the software? What should be the behavior? Okay. Let's say if you are trying to log into the application and it gives you internal server error, so then some error message or some validation message also might come that please log in, please try to log in with correct credentials. Okay.
Yeah.
So that should be the expected output. But if the output comes like you are logged in successful even when the error is coming, then that is wrong, right? Validation
Yes.
messages, all those things are being covered. What is black box testing and what is white box testing? Yeah.
In
Am I
black box
audible?
testing,
Yeah.
the tester Yes. In black box testing, the tester will not have the knowledge of the structure or coding part of the software, and it is only based we will check that the designs and the front end part is working fine or not, and it is done by the testers.
Mm-hmm.
And in white box testing, uh, developers and testers both will do this testing. And in white box testing, testers or developers have the knowledge of structure or back end part of the application, like coding knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And in white box testing, tester will check that the code is working fine, or any errors are coming or not.
Mm-hmm. Right. So so the knowledge of the internal structure or the coding is being known in the white box testing while it is unknown in the black box testing. Then which are the different techniques that are used to design the test cases or test design? So which are the different techniques that you will use? Let me give you one hint of one of the technique is boundary value analysis.
Yeah. Then equivalence class partitioning,
Yeah, right. Then
state transition,
mm, state transition. Yeah, right. It is also there. Then error guessing
error guessing.
and decision table. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do you mean by error guessing? Have you heard about it before? Or you want me to help you?
Yeah,
Sure.
please help me.
Sure. So see, error guessing is one of the technique in which, which is basically used by the experienced testers. Let's say today you are a fresher, but after 2 years you will have a good experience of working on one application, at least from one domain. So you will come to know
Yeah.
what kind of defects you got, and then that experience you can use, to kind of think of the defects that you are trying to test in the future. Let's say you can tell for this particular service this application might not work. For SQL query this is one of the limitations, so it might not work. For Oracle you might have to use the data table in this manner, or this is the way how you have to write the query. So otherwise what would happen, otherwise these defects would be raised. So you can find out those defects based on the errors that you have. So you have to guess the errors in the software. You have to guess the defects how they are created in the software due to some conditions which you have already faced in the past. So you are learning from your experience from that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, then okay. So I think we are done with most of the questions. And then you might be asked few question on severity and priority. Okay. What is the severity of the defect? What is the priority of the defect? What are the various categories in that defect severity? Okay, so those are questions will come. That is that. Then similarly, the different types of defect priority, the categories, the levels of that. Okay, these questions also might come to you in an interview. So, Rushi, we are done with the testing interview. Do you have any questions for us?
No.
Okay. And was this mock interview helpful to you?
Yeah, lot.
Lot. So you were able to, learn new concepts, new things in this during this an hour which we have spent together.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. So thank you, Rushi. It was nice talking to you. Yeah.
Thank you.